Good afternoon. It's Friday and it is March already, March the 4th. And this week I was like, I wish I had something to talk about on YouTube. And then I was like, oh my gosh, my Doomsday mother book. Totally forgot about it. My son has moved back home from Chicago. That was a short trip. Had to let my birds go this week. So I was just somewhere else, I guess. I don't know. Caught up on a few chapters of Mommy Doomsday. So chapter 6 is I'm Going to Kill You. And we all know where that comes from. Where, Lori, well, I guess she said that to everyone that she killed. But this is talking about Joe Ryan right now. And still, I'm learning things I didn't know. It's crazy. May 23rd, 2007. Lori Vallow and Joe Ryan were at the Travis County Courthouse for a custody hearing. Ryan had not seen his daughter Tylee for months. If I were to not let my evil ex see the kids, next time we got to court, my ass was in trouble. I don't see how she kept getting away with this shit. This is shitty. This is Lori. And for whoever says all the way back to before she even had Colby, whoever says that, oh, she was a great person. Well, she fooled everyone. She was not a great person. She never was. She put on this smile and used her body and her mouth to try to get everything she wanted. And everything that came out of her mouth was a damn lie. Not only because she'd been brainwashed by the LDS church, but because she's got to be the center of attention, doesn't care about anyone else but her damn self. And this is the truth. So, during a court recess, Lori was in the busy cafeteria when her ex-husband walked past her. She suddenly screamed out that he'd hit her. And Ryan was immediately arrested for assault with injury. That bitch is gonna get what's coming, y'all. I just can't wait to see it. And she has done the same freaking thing to end up in a freaking yoga hospital right now. She just knows what to say, and when her lips are moving, she's lying. Why people keep allowing it, I don't know. At the same time, I think everybody knows Charles was also involved in a pretty bad custody battle, and they had the same judge. Lori and Joe Ryan and Charles and Cheryl. I don't know if they end up saying it in here, but they haven't said it throughout the next 2 or 3 chapters. Is where the judge even eventually ordered cameras in Lori and Charles's house. Things like, I don't want to say, because even though I read it in the court documents, it was just stuff I don't want to bring up again because I'm tired of people saying somebody was sexually molested and all that stuff. But it's also about her, Lori, giving people medicine to get them to go to sleep and things like that, like she continued to do her whole life, and I bet her parents did to her, which I think is a horrible thing to do. Eventually, the judge actually combined the 2 cases, and we just see them at the same time. Cheryl, the ex-wife of Charles, she goes, Lori loved it. I saw her more in court than I did out of the courthouse. I saw an instability, and I didn't want her around the boys. I bet you did. Somebody saw it. It takes somebody having their kids around that wench to probably see how dangerous she really is. End of July, psychologist Vivian Lewis prepared a confidential sex offender assessment on Joe Ryan. She found that he posed no danger to Tylee and should be introduced into her life as soon as possible. A grand jury had also declined to indict Joe Ryan, I didn't know that, on charges of indecency with a child by sexual contact, so he had a spotless record. Psychologist July 24th report observed that although Ryan had admitted to rape and dominance fantasies, listen to this shit, he had never acted on them non-consensually. He does state that the mother of the child in question, read Lewis's report, enjoyed these kinds of games. Lori, okay? And Mrs. Vallow would initiate, at times, these types of sex play and behavior. He adamantly feels that she was not forced and scared entering into their sexual activities and mutual enjoyment. That bitch is sicker than we thought. Lewis noted that these kind of sexual fantasies and games were common between consenting adults. Joe Ryan has verbalized great frustration, wrote Lewis, during this past 4 years of accusations, multiple investigations, and now 12 months of his daughter not knowing her father. The psychologist also expressed grave concern about how Lori would react to her findings that Tylee should restart visitation with her father. Miss Vallow is a devout Mormon, Lewis wrote, who has mentioned to me that death would be an option before giving Tylee to her father, even for a visit. These are real and serious concerns. I have no way of knowing if Miss Vallow was serious. She was serious. Thank God somebody, actually took her, saw her, and said, I really don't know if she's serious or not. She's just evil, self-centered piece of shit. I could say a few more things, but we'll stop there. So, as Lewis suspected, Lori did not take the news well, and she called her brother Alex for help. Okay, now this is where all of this stuff conspires to where Joe Ryan is starting to slowly get to spend more time with Tylee, but he has to do it at a place in front of, professionals, and Lori is not allowed in during that time. And when he came out, he was attacked by Alex, and they put much more detail into it right here, but I know y'all probably don't want me to read you everything. Tylee watched the whole thing. Lori made it to where Tylee would see the whole thing, her father being attacked. And by this point, you're already starting to see that poor Tylee has been beat down and brainwashed. The only abuser in this was Lori, because she really is totally confused and hasn't seen her father for a long time. She's been around Charles. He's been a great one. It's really sad. It's really sad what Lori got away with, but it's just like the LDS Church. If you start at 2 years old brainwashing somebody, by the time they're 5, they're messed up. It is noted that medical heart problems began because of this with Joe Ryan. His health went down. It was never the same again. He had to go to the emergency room a couple of times. Later, Tylee would reveal that she and Lori had been sitting in Alex's car watching the entire incident, which Lori had orchestrated. Damn. Early 2008, Lori and Tylee failed to show up for Joe Ryan's next scheduled supervised visitation. How is this bitch getting away with this is what I want to know. Because see, a lot of times a judge will just make you pay a fine. Well, Lori's not working. It's not her damn money. Charles, pay it, What they really needed to do is take the children from her for a short time and until they had court again, and say, okay, are you willing to abide by the court's ruling now? Do something to make her stop keeping this child from her father. I don't understand some judges. I don't understand any judges that I know of. But a month later, one did take place with dire consequences. Ryan collected his daughter with a supervisor in tow, and as they were leaving Kids Exchange, 2 pickup trucks started following him. So he immediately called the police, and this happened a couple of times. 10 days later, Tylee's new appointed guardian ad litem, Mary Fogel, reported her concerns about the long-term effects and collateral damage all this drama was having on Tylee. There are many disturbing events in this case, wrote Fogel. That included a tasering incident at Kids Exchange after the first supervised visit and an alleged assault in the courthouse cafeteria after a hearing giving the information. I am concerned that there is a heightened potential for violence and physical endangerment in this situation that could potentially involve Tylee. Fogel was particularly disturbed by Tylee's flat reaction after they had been chased by 2 trucks during the last visitation and the police had to intervene. This is like when you hear about children that they just black that part out because it's happening. They can't stop it. It's a part of their life, and they don't know yet how to and shouldn't have to deal with these types of things. And so even when children are being sexually abused and things like that, so many times you can't tell because the child knows how to put it back here so they don't have to think about it when it's not happening, and they can go and be kids. at school and around their friends. So it's very sad, and this is what's happened to her. She's just emotionless. This is part of her life, is having constant shit like this happen. And especially if she's with her mother full time, that's all she lives and breathes, is rage. Tylee had no emotional reaction at all. The father was visibly shaken. It was as if nothing was happening with Tylee. Tylee's psychological profile, Fogel noted, indicated that she suffered from a high level of repressed anxiety, endangering her emotional and mental health. Tylee has grown accustomed to adults who are highly upset and accustomed to police officers and bodyguards at the age of 5. My kids too. And I swear, I think that they've just blacked it out. You know, they're older, they're in their 20s now, and they just, it's something we just can't talk about. December 4th, 2007, Alex Cox was indicted by a Travis County grand jury. Okay, so this is about him being put in jail. Somehow, he got this aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. After he spent 90 days in jail, somehow he just got that wiped off his record. And he was able to carry a firearm again, which we know what happened when, you know, with that. When a crazy man gets to have a gun or two. That wasn't the only time he had done something like that. He had gotten arrested in Arizona, I think it was. Something to do with the gun. So, from what I hear, he's not even supposed to have a gun. How he kept getting this erased, if he did. But I want to say even Adam Cox had said he's not supposed to even have a gun. So, they go through all of this with him in jail. And there's a girl that was really close to him at the time. And we've heard different things about the letters and things that he wrote to her during time in jail. Mary Tracy is her name. Constantly asking her to call Janice and ask her to pull Joe's address and put it on a postcard and mail it to me. These guys in here want to, you know, call him a pedophile and unpunished and the world's coming undone. And I guess it's time for an apocalypse. Damn. It's always the end of the world. And shit wasn't even really happening. We all know about that. And then he tells her, Mary Tracy, he wants her to convert to Mormonism. He's already been shunned by the Mormons because he let them know and he chose that he was going to have sex before marriage with his sister. Probably. He didn't say that. I'm just saying that. So he wanted her to read Romans chapter 13 to cause a little repentance for your horny granny ass. Summer has a copy of the Book of Mormon for you. What kills me is these people that have been shunned by the church and told, you're not going to heaven. You're a sinner. You can't even come here. You're no longer a Mormon. They still believe and still read the Book of Mormon. While he was in jail, it was reported he would read the Book of Mormon. I don't understand. I don't get it. He actually used in his comedy stunt after he got out of jail, he used the stuff about Joe being a pedophile, and then, oh, did you know that you can tase a pedophile and come to find out it's illegal? Yeah, dumbass. So idiotic. Oh, I killed a murderer. I guess it's okay. No. Now you're a murderer. You're so stupid. I truly believe that Alex was born with something wrong with him. Maybe he was without oxygen for a while. I don't know. But not right in the head. I think he's a bit evil, like Lori too, though. And I think it could be because maybe some things they did together. You know what I mean? So, chapter 7, settling down. Soon after Alex is released from jail, Alex brings Mary Tracy to a Cox family gathering at Janice and Barry's new house in Queen Creek area. How the did they have a new house? They had not paid taxes for years. Probably Charles. I guarantee you, it wasn't just cars and phones and tablets. It was probably also home. Mary was intrigued. Alex had often talked about Lori and his parents, and she was puzzled by their unusual relationship. Alex didn't have respect for his mom and dad, but when they said jump, he'd say how high. They arrived on a hot Sunday afternoon, and Lori was wearing a skimpy bikini parading around the house with Colby and Tylee in her wake. I just thought that was so odd, said Mary. She looked good, but I've never actually been around someone who walked around the house in a bikini.